Let's start. So welcome everyone to this month's Coalesce Transformation Talks. Today we are going to talk about data void stages. So before we do that, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Tim Kirschke. I'm a senior consultant at Scale3. I have over 7 years of experience with databases in general, and 5 of them already with Data Void 2.0. And I'm a consultant, so I typically work at clients. I help them implementing Data Vault 2.0, and I also set up and maintain data warehouse automation solutions like Coalesce. And this format, the Coalesce Transformation Talks, happens every third Thursday of the month at 3 p.m. GMT +1. So right now, just a heads up, so you can join every month. We're going to talk about small pieces of features of Coalesce and things to do in Coalesce. It's going to be like 10 to 20 minutes and just an overview and hopefully always a demonstration of what we talk about. Yes, we're going to start a series today about how to build a whole data vault. And this is episode 1, creating a stage. So basically the foundation of your data vault. And for that, we're not going to do everything by scratch, but we're going to use something that Scale3 has published roughly 2 years ago. It's Data Vault for Coalesce, and it's a free extension for Coalesce that helps you building a Data Vault 2.0. What does it include? It's a collection of node types, basically, node types for all relevant Data Vault 2.0 entities. So you're going to find stages, hubs, links, satellites, point-in-time tables. We have snapshot tables, non-historized links and non-historized satellites, multi-axis satellites, and also record tracking satellites. So with these building blocks, you should be good to go to create your Data Vault 2.0 in Coalesce. We do have here patterns, loading patterns that are based on years of experience in data vault loading, because at Scale3, this is what we do, what we typically do every day since more than 8 years now. So we know what we put in the package, right? So the SQL code is optimized, for example, for multi-batch processing, and everything happens the best way it possibly could. We also have automatic cleanup of point-in-time tables. We have virtual load end dates to enable insert only, which is good on Snowflake, right? And we also have automated ghost records, which we're hopefully going to see in today's demonstration session. So let's talk about data vault stages. So every time you start creating a data vault, you have to have some kind of foundational layer. And this foundational layer we typically call stages. Many people call it that way. But what do they do? What are data vault stages? A data vault stage is typically used to create a couple of columns and to do some kind of hard rules, for example. So what we do here, for example, is creating hash keys and hash diffs for hubs, links, and satellites. We add a load date and a record source column. Those are technical columns that we need downstream for auditability. And we could also do pre-joins. So if my customer, for example, has a relationship to an order, but it doesn't include the order's business key, but only an order technical key, then we could do a pre-join to get the order business key. And we can also, as I said, do hard rules here. Could be stuff like data type conversions. Maybe we generate an artificial value, something like that. And that's all happening before our actual data vault. And it basically gives us all the information that we need downstream. And how do I create a stage? It's pretty simple. The first thing is you need to install Data Vault for Coalesce. I'm going to show you how to do that. And then you just select a source entity. And then you see in the screenshot, we're going to do it step by step. You can just select the Data Vault by Scale3 stage as a node type. And that will basically create your stage. And that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to guide you through a short step-by-step demonstration to create the data vault stages. So let me exit the slides here and jump to my Coalesce instance. I have prepared here, of course. And this is my Coalesce playground. Right now it's empty. You can see the browser has no nodes. So every time, no matter what you do, every time you work with Coalesce, you want to build something, you start by adding sources. Without sources, you're not able to do any transformations or data warehousing at all, because if you don't have data, right, you don't need a data warehouse. So I just clicked here on Add Sources. This is connected to my, or to Scale-Free's Snowflake instance. And for today's session, we're going to use the Snowflake sample data. It's the TBCH data set. We're just going to take all 8 source tables. I think we could even preview it here. Orders, for example. I know this data. I work with it a lot, many times already, but maybe you don't. So it's, I would say, a basic CRM system. We have orders, customers, all of that stuff. So let's add all of those 8 source tables. They should now appear here in my browser. You can see them now. They have obviously no relationship yet, no dependencies yet. So this is just the table as it is already existing in the database. Again, I can just fetch my data here, have a look into it. And I guess I'm going to need this now, because what's the typical process if you maybe start creating a data vault or maybe extend an existing one? You need to model your data vault, because without a model, you are just flying blind, right? So the first thing that you typically do is you have a look into your data, you identify possible business keys, relationships, and descriptive attributes. And as soon as you have a data vault model, you can start creating your stage. And since that is today's topic, we want to do that now in the next step. So to create a stage, I mentioned before that I need to install Data Vault for Coalesce, which is pretty simple. You just go to your build settings, you go to packages. You can see I don't have any packages installed right now. So I'm going to go to the package browser or the package marketplace. And I'm going to search for a Data Vault package. Here it is, Data Vault by Scale-Free. I can click on Find Out More. What do I need? I need the package ID. So I'm just going to copy that over, go back to Coalesce. I'm going to click on Install, paste my package ID. It quickly scans for available versions. I obviously want the latest one. I'm going to give it a nice alias. And oh, I think I didn't press install. Data Vault for Coalesce. Now I'm going to click on install. And now it's here. I can have a look into the macros and the node types. I don't want that right now because I already know what is included and I already know what I want to do. So I'm going to start with customer. Customer is a basic object. It's typically of high interest. And therefore, I'm going to start now by creating a stage for my customer source. All I have to do is right-click this entity. I click on Add Node because that's what I want to do. And now I see here Data Vault for Coalesce has been added as a group. And I can see all the node types available inside Data Vault for Coalesce. I'm going to select the stage. And here it already is. So we have a new node now. It automatically is called dbSDG with a prefix. It has all the columns of my source table, and it already adds a load date timestamp and a record source. Those are 2 technical columns. If you don't know Data Vault yet, we have a couple of resources on our website where you can learn the basics about Data Vault 2.0. But those 2 columns are essentially there to keep track of your data throughout your entire data warehouse. And our macro automatically generates that. What else do we need to do? I said so typical components of a stage, load date and record source, we already have it. Hash keys and hash diffs. That's what we're going to create next. What do we need? We need a hub hash key. Out of customers, we're going to create a customer hub. So I'm going to create a customer hub hash key. And for the hash key input, I need the business key. And I now know already, we can again have a look here into my data. I know that the ccust key is a pretty good business key candidate. So what am I going to do? I'm going to right-click this column. I'm going to click on Generate Hash Column. I can see a new column is appearing here, and I'm going to rename it to a nice naming convention, HK for hash key customer, and then _H because it's a hub hash. So this is all I have to do to create my hub hash key. Next on, I have to check for potential relationships. And I see there is a nation key. And if you saw it maybe before, we have a nation object. So I just assume that this is a relationship to nation. Relationship is turned into a link in Data Vault 2.0, and the link always needs a link hash key. And that link hash key is always calculated out of all business keys of the objects that are referenced. In this case, it's the C cust key, the customer business key, and C nation key, the nation hash key, business key. I select those two, I click on generate hash columns, another column pops up here, and I can again rename it to HK for hash key, customer, nation, and _L for link. Every time we have a relationship, we also need the hub hash key of the other object because those typically go into the link. In this case, it means we also need a hub hash key for nation. So I'm going to create another hash column only based on the nation key. I'm going to call it HK nation H. And now I have all the hash keys that I need in this stage. The other thing that we now need are hash diffs. They belong into satellites, and they typically have all descriptive attributes in there. So I'm going to take the name, the address, the phone, the account balance, the market segment, and the comment. And I create one last hash column, and I'm going to rename it as well, HD this time for hash diff, customer, and _S, because it's a satellite. This is it. This is all I need to define here. I'm gonna show you some other options that you have here. So you see it here on the right-hand side in the config panel, you can check on the one-hand side, where should this stage be created? And some Data Vault specific options. Do we want ghost records here? Yes, we want. We're gonna keep it on the default value. And does my source data contain multi-active data? It doesn't, so I'm gonna keep it as it is. And the only thing that I now need to do is I hit the create button, and my metadata definition here, you can see it was successful, is turned into a Snowflake stage view. Let me have a look here into the SQL code that's generated. I think here, this is full screen, nice. I can see it generates a creator replace view statement. It has a big select. And for each hash key that we defined, we can see here now a complex calculation logic. So the C cust key is hashed as the customer hash key. The cust key and the nation key is hashed as the link hash key. Only the nation key is hashed as the nation hash key. And my descriptive attributes, name, address, phone, account balance, market segment, and comment are hashed as the hash diff column. They are unionized now with my ghost records. I mentioned them before. And what I didn't show you here is here. The load date is created with a sys date, and the record source is just generated by a static string. So I'm going to close this. I can actually have a look into the data that has been generated here. It should look like my source table with a couple of additional columns. Oh, maybe I should fetch my data again. This didn't look up to date. Yeah, this looks better. So besides my original source data, we have now the load date, the record source, my hub hash key, my link hash key, another hub hash key, and my hash diff. And now if I go back to my browser, I would typically create one stage per source table. And yeah, they are the foundation to, in the next step, create my hubs, links, and satellites. And that's what we're going to cover in our next sessions. So we successfully created one Data Vault stage. We generated hash keys and hash diffs. We added load dates and record sources, and we actually materialized that stage as a view on Snowflake. That's it for Data Vault stages. You now, if you followed along, maybe you now created the foundation for your entire raw Data Vault. And that's, as I said, what we're going to cover in one of our next sessions. Quick reminder here, we would really love if you join our next session here as well. You can register here. You can submit your own questions. And as I said, it happens every third Thursday of the month at 3 p.m. GMT+1. So thanks for attending today, and hopefully see you next time.